Hey everybody, I'm Pacific the Casual Gamer, and welcome to another Humankind video. And today, I made the Humankind versus Civilization 6 video. I have to make an in-depth video on 10 things that Humankind does better than Civilization. Honestly, I think in my opinion, Humankind does everything better than Civilization 6. Even the exploits! The exploits are better than Civ 6's ever were, right? So let's hop into it. Number one, we're going to start with exploration. Specifically, we're going to talk about the beginning of the game. Now, in Civilization, everyone knows the beginning of the game, you have a settler, you put your city down, you build a scout, send it out, whatever. In this version of the Civilization formula in Humankind, you get to explore the map and make an informed decision about where you're going to settle and what civilization you're going to pick, because you spend in a normal game, on double speed it's different. On double speed, you basically have one turn until you have to pick your civ. But in like normal speed or double speed, you get a lot of time to explore your local area and kind of figure out what your game plan is. And that's a lot more engaging than in Civilization 6, because usually the strat in Civilization 6 is you put your city down and then you kind of explore in a circle and then just kind of go from there. While as in Humankind, you are exploring and you end up with an army too at the end of it. If you play the Neolithic era right, you end up with an army at the end of it, like 4 or 5 guys. And that's something else that Civilization doesn't have. You know, in Civilization 6, if you don't build an army right out the gate, it's kind of like you just end up getting killed unless you can be everybody's buddy. But in Humankind, the exploration and army building, the early army building, happens initially right out the gate. And you can take that army and either leverage it into population for your cities, or you can go expand out faster, or you can go kill somebody. It's way more versatile. Second thing that Humankind does better than Civilization 6, this is by far one of the best things that it does, is it engages you in every single age. Every single age you have to pick your civilization. And if you decide to stick with your own civilization, you get more points, that's cool. But the real meat of the game is picking a different civilization in every age. Because in every age, you have a unique building, right? You kind of have to think, okay, in every age, I'm going to be building this unique building. There's a strategy, right? Each civ has a different strategy, so every age, you're planning on what strategies you're going to employ. You get a unique unit every single age. And overall, you don't feel like in Civ 6, you don't feel like you're stuck to the gameplay that your civilization you picked right out the get. You're stuck with it, you know? A good example of this is the Americans, right? If you pick the Americans in Civilization 6, you are stuck basically trying to build every single wonder and every single cultural item you can until the end of the game, where you have this big culture explosion and you try to win with culture. That's how you play. You basically turtle until the end of the game and then boom. You know, that's it. Not in Humankind. In Humankind, you pick every single era what you're gonna do. Of course, you know, stacking the bonuses together is really nice. And that's the thing about it, is it doesn't take away. The stacking of the bonuses doesn't take away from specializing your civilization. It gives you the power to specialize your civilization. And you can do some crazy stuff. Like the game I'm playing right now, I'm literally just hyper-focusing on food. And I'm doing good, you know? Other games, I pick like literally one civ from each type, and I do good. I pick the science civ every time, and I do good. That you can mix and match them in different ways. You know, you could be the most peaceful person in the game, and then at the end of it, you're like, you know what? I'm gonna pick some like war civ and just go nuke everybody and call it a day. Now we're gonna talk about war. This is number 3, is war, because they just like took something that was in Civ that just worked and they made it better. The big thing here is you do not have to micromanage every single unit. How many times have you been playing Civ 6 and you have like 20 guys, right? And you have to think, okay, my warrior's on this tile, my archer's on this tile. Where are they gonna be because they have 2 movement a turn? Oh, I move my warriors around the wrong way, which ends up meaning I get to attack them 2 less times, which means my warriors are gonna get hit more by archers, and you know, that's annoying, right? So what do? In this game, they get in stacks, right? They move around in stacks. The game is balanced around the unit stacks. So usually you have like, I don't know, unless you're a financial superpower, I tend to only have like max 4 or 5, 6 different stacks, unless I specifically, you know, go for it, but I'm not paying attention to 4 or 5 stacks. And I move them around in stacks, so I spend less time being like, okay, warrior here, warrior here, warrior here, archer, 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 spearman. I'm not doing any of that. Okay, then when it comes to the actual battle, you do your three things a turn and then get on with it. You can even make it auto battle. You can instant res, or if you know that the instant res isn't fair and your guys are stronger, you go to manual battle and you can still have it auto battle. There's a check for the AI, and when the AI auto battles, it is freaking smart. Like, the AI in this game is ruthless when it comes to manual battles. You just feel like you can get to the action better. You don't feel like war doesn't feel like a giant chore anymore. Okay, I like the system of war support. You know, in Civilization, it's very common. You're like, oh, that guy pissed me off, I'm just gonna go conquer him real quick. You know, that's a common thing. But, you know, with the war support, I think the best part about it is it gives the nation that loses a fighting chance, right? Like, the whole problem with Civilization is there's two problems, two very huge problems. One is unnecessary micromanagement, right? A lot of games like Humankind with the outpost system kind of mitigate that in the army stacks. The other one is, my brother John calls it the runaway powerhouse, right? Where someone just wins a couple early wars, and now they're an unstoppable force, and even if you take all the rest of the nations and combine them together, you're not gonna win. You've lost before, you know, you hit 80. You lost in BC ages ago. And, you know, I feel like this game, Humankind, does a really good job of giving you powerful bonuses, you know, for everything, powerful things. And the war system means you expand out slower. You really have to be a warmonger to win conquering everyone, right? And I just feel like it's so much more harder to have a runaway powerhouse civ that it keeps it fair for everybody. Also, it's kind of cool that soldiers use up population, which means that you can be a warmonger, but if you are if you're losing soldiers left and right, you're gonna run out of population. And all that time you spend building soldiers, you could have spent building farms to feed the soldiers. So it kind of adds that additional risk to war, which is great. In any Civilization game, war is always the option. You must go to war. If you don't win at war, like, you're not playing the game. Yeah, you can turtle, but you're gonna get your ass kicked. Now I'm gonna talk number 4. I'm gonna talk about production real quick. One thing I really like is production gets carried over. So if my city produces 1,000 industry, I get 1,000 industry a turn. It's not like Civ where, okay, I'm producing 1,000 industry, but like, this thing takes 1 turn, right? So it builds and then all that extra industry goes to waste. It's great. It makes it so that building an industrial powerhouse civ is even more rewarding. And the fact that it carries over just means, you know, an industrial civ should have it carry over. You should be able to produce 4 people in 1 turn if you can. You should. You know, that's what you have to deal with, right? If you go to war with this person and you know they're an industrial powerhouse, you have to deal with that. And if you have that industry, you get rewarded by it, right? And the whole game, it kind of leads into the district system. The whole game is built around strategizing and synergizing different things. And I like that you can take not just industry as my one example, but science, money, food, anything, and just double down on it and you get rewarded for it. That makes sense. It's also a nice touch that you can just combine all your cities together to build national projects. I think that's a cool touch, you know, because building great wonders of the world was always a chore because you set your one city to it and, well, you hope that it doesn't waste production. Speaking of production, let's talk about districts for a second. The district system in this game is really nice. I love the adjacency. I love that you just keep building them, and the only thing that you have to deal with is stability, right? You don't have to deal with the whole like, oh, I'm unhappy because I don't have anywhere to work, you know? Like, you don't have to deal with that, and I like that the districts, like, it doesn't feel like I have to have a district and like a trader. I don't have to have the farming district and a farmer. I can just put the district down, I get my yield, right? And then, oh, I can stack people on it. And I think the addition of just all the different ways you can put districts together, you can make a city do everything, right? You can make every city do everything. But I think this game really makes you focus on specializing your cities, right? Each city, you know, this is my food city. It's going to give all the people, right? And the military units. This is my science city. This is my money-making city, right? Because infrastructure, in Civ 6, there's 3 infrastructure. The cultural one is 4. You basically, you know, what happens when you build a commercial district? What are you going to build next, right? It's the same thing every time. market, bank, stock exchange, market, bank, stock exchange, market, bank, over and over and over and over and over again, right? In this game, in Humankind, I believe like the science has 11 different infrastructures and they all do different things, and you build them based on what your city does, right? If my city's high in population but has no researchers, I don't build the researcher infrastructure that gives my researchers more science, right? I build the one that I get more science per population. That's just a simple one. But it's things like that with a more complicated infrastructure system that makes you think about the design of your city and the use of the land around it. It's not just, oh, I'm gonna build a city on the river because there goes my commercial hub. I'm Germany, so I put my industrial hub next to it, and oh, I put my commercial hub next to where my harbor is gonna go. You're thinking, how am I gonna cluster all these districts together and combine them with infrastructure to get the most value out of them? So enough of that. Number 6, civics. I think this is one of the biggest improvements. It goes along with the micromanaging system of civilization. You're not micromanaging your civics all day. You're not like, oh, I'm gonna take this one and I gotta slot it out and do this, and oh, I gotta take the production one and switch it out with the military one. No, civics are clean cut, right? You get 2 options, A or B, right? Or you don't even have to enact the civic because it's gonna mess with your ideology axis and you're gonna spend influence on something you're not even gonna do, right? Civics are great in this game. It helps, define the government. In Civilization, right? Think about how you defined your government in Civ 6. What did you do? You picked your government, and then you had I think there was 6 or 7 civic cards that are just universally the best cards. So you had those, and then you had 2 or 3 extra slots that whatever, strategy you're going for with whatever government you have, that's what you do. And that was boring because I always use the same civics every single game. In Humankind, I still use a lot of the same civics every single game, but I feel like I'm getting more powerful. It's not like just simple upgrades. It's, okay, now my outposts are cheaper. Now I get more food. Now I get more industry. Oh, I don't want to enact this civic because it moves me. I'm a traditionalist and my faith is great right now. I don't want to ruin it. Your government in this game feels way more defined than any government in any Civilization game. Number 7 on my list is the way that this game handles science. Now, it's not unique to actually the Civilization series to limit science. In Civilization 3, the tech tree was divided up into 4 pieces, and you actually had to research everything from the ancient era, except a couple of civs or techs, and then you go to the medieval era and you gotta research everything there and then move on. And I really like that because a common thing that would always happen in Civilization, and I think the Humankind developers knew this by the way that they limited the tech tree, is you would pick just whatever civilization. This is what I would always do whenever I play Civilization, and I'm allowed to do this. I pick a military tech, right? Usually it's knights, because by the time, because Civilization always does this, right? You always get swordsmen, and they're always stronger than spearmen. Pikemen are a ways off, and they're the same spot as horsemen, or as knights. So your path would always be spearmen, swordsmen, knights, pikemen. And what I would do is rush to knights before anyone got pikemen. And then you're just a powerhouse until they develop pikemen. But by that time, you're already going down the tech tree developing tanks, because your knights directly get upgraded into tanks. In Humankind, every era has a unit in every class. And what this means is the rock, paper, scissors of infantry and horsemen and archers and merging them all together to kind of fit something together and make your army work is always at play, right? Even if I do pick the science tech guy, the guy's spearmen that are next to me, yeah, my knights are killing him, but he's about to develop pikemen and they can, take me out. But your units aren't useless. You don't have to sit there and be like, all right, I got my pikemen, I can't really use them. I got my archers, I gotta wait till I get my archer upgrade, and it feels like all of your units throughout all of the ages are useful. I do also like that instead of having to research a bunch of prerequisite techs, you research your one tech, then you go on to the next tech. You can skip useless techs, right? Just the different ways that you can develop in this tech tree, the way that it's developed, just means that you can create more creative strategies than, always having to research the market after, writing. You always had to jump through so many hoops in Civilization 6 that You know, if I was rushing for knights, I rush down the same tech line every single time. There's no uniqueness to rushing to knights. Number 8, I think Humankind handles the expansion of your civilization a lot better than Civilization 6 does. You know, the stability system is basically the same in this game. You know, you get happy resources, you build happy buildings, your people are happy, you know, life is good. But I think the outpost system is great. I like what they did with the Hunnic raiders and the Mongols. I think the Hittites too are raiders. I like that you build your outposts, they develop, you know, there's border disputes. You don't have to you can hurt people, you know, by raiding their outposts. You don't have to go to war to hurt them. And your expansion isn't spamming out settlers. Expansion seems way more thought out than puzzle piecing cities together that Civilizations kind of always had, that where you obviously know that, you know, there's good and bad places to build cities, but at the end of the day, to control the most territory and get the most value out of it, you kind of just sat there and took all the land around you and puzzle pieced your cities everywhere to try and get the most out of your land. The outpost system simplifies things. You put your outpost down, you can either turn it into a city or make the current city's borders bigger. And you're not sitting there micromanaging 20 different cities and half of them are there just to claim land, so the other guy doesn't have a unit spawn later in the game. And I just feel like it's so much more streamlined. You can get what you want faster, and you're not sitting there, you know, part of the reason that conquest was always so hard in the ancient classical and medieval ages in Civilization was because, like, why would you build out a city that goes all the way across the map right next to someone? So, you know, the people that you could go to war with that were next to you were far away, so you'd kind of almost be managing two nations. They wouldn't be connected at all. And now, because territory is so sort of vast, you claim a lot more lands with outposts, you get to border disputes faster. And everything is streamlined, so you're not micromanaging 20 different cities. Oh my god, number 9. I forgot I wrote this down. Religion. Oh my god, it is so much better in Humankind than Civilization. I feel like there is less useless abilities in this game than in Civilization 6. You're not scrolling through just these random useless abilities. There's still some abilities that I think are questionable in their use, such as the final combat one, which only gives you 2+ combat strength, which kind of sucks because later on in the game, 2+ combat strength really doesn't matter at all. But for the most part, every single ability you get, there's some religious tenet, there is use out of it. And spreading your religion isn't this micromanaging game of, oh, did I remember to have enough faith to build another apostle that I then send off into the world? Like, I'm not sitting here for the religion game building 20 apostles and then like sending them to cities and oh my god, I converted some guy's dudes and now he wants to declare war on me. Like, I feel like in Civilization they advertise to you there's 4 ways to win in Civ 6, right? But they all, like, to win any of those ways except for science, you basically have to control half or more of the world anyways. And you know, I'm glad there's no religious victory in this game, because religion's kind of a confusing smorgasbord mess of stuff, but it's so much more simpler to spreading your religion. Like, you don't even have to think about it, right? Of course you do if, you know, you rush the holy sites if you want to be more religious, you know, be the dominant one, but still, you're not sitting here micromanaging 20 different religious apostles to convert the same city you've been converting against the other guy for the entire fucking game. Anyways, now I'm done. God, religion is just so bad in Civ 6. It's a cool system, it's a cool concept, okay? Having religion in a game about civilization building, like, religion is fundamental to the roots of civilization. You just don't have to make it a click simulator. You don't have to do that. Okay, number 10, let me get off religion. Number 10, the fame system. It is the best victory system I've seen in a 4X strategy game. The way that fame is built and the way that you earn fame means that you don't have to just go to war to win. In Civ 6, the only way to win was just going to war all the time. I've found that, you know, I don't even have to go to war with anyone in Humankind. I mean, it's nice, the extra territory is really nice, But because of their fame system and the way that you age up with the star system means that, hey, it's cool that you built a city that produces people faster than everyone else. So you get rewarded for that, right? In Civ 6, you don't get rewarded for that. You get rewarded by killing everyone. And I love that you can actually see the scoreboard for the entire time of the game. You can see where everyone's fame is, because it creates this interesting dynamic where, you know, you want to rush for fame. You want to try to win with, you have to win with fame, obviously, but you're looking at your star system going, okay, am I going to age up now? Is my civilization going to get taken? Or do I want to try to get these, 300 point stars before I decide to go and ascend, to the next age? Or do I forego my special abilities that I could be getting to go for a strategy where, the first civ I picked is the only civ I pick, and I'm just getting more and more fame as the game goes on, the percentage fame bonus. That's a viable strategy. It's fun on a gameplay perspective because I can win multiple different ways. I don't have to always sit here and gear my civilization towards war, because there's a lot of concepts in Civ 6 that I didn't really get to explore because I was busy gearing my civilization for war, because that's how you win. I'm not going to sit there and mess with the culture system when I have to win a war. I'm not going to do that. Now I can do that and get rewarded accordingly for it. And I feel like this system does the civilization simulation better than Civilization does, because I want you to think about this for a second. Let's just say I told you to look at the nation right now of Mexico, the modern day 2021 Mexico, and compare it to the Roman Empire. Which one of these two countries is more successful, right? I think all of you would say the Roman Empire. I don't know if there's more people, but just on a cultural level, Roman Empire basically culturally has impacted the world. They brought the entire Mediterranean together under one banner. They fought back the Persian Empire. And, Mexico has its own benefits. The Revolutionary War, against Spain. Before Mexico, there is the Aztec Empire, which was arguably one of the strongest empires in, ancient America. And then you start playing this civilization comparison game when you go down that rabbit hole, right? And that's what civilization, human civilization, is all about, right? The Romans now are the country of Italy, right? Not as cool as the Roman Empire, but if we were judging them on this fame system, they got all their fame back in the ancient era when they were the Romans, in the classical era. Italy now is bro, I already got my score. I did it 2,000 years ago. All y'all in Europe, you lost to me in the ancient age. I love it. I find that, every time I open up Humankind, I always think to myself that a World War III is going to break out and there's just going to be a bunch of wars all the time. Never the case unless someone decides that there's going to be war all the time. And I think it's great. I love it. I love it. And just a little bonus, part 11, every top 10 video always has to have bonus number 11. It's basically in the rules of making top 10 videos. Number 11 is the amount of time you save per game, okay? Humankind gives you more bang for your buck. If you sit down and play a game of Civilization 6 on double speed, right? So one turn is worth 2 turns, right? And you big brain, right? You just sit there and observe and think through every single action. It's gonna take you 6 to 8 hours, okay? Humankind, if I sit and big brain the game on double speed, it takes me 4 hours. It literally it's 4 hours, right? What that means is every 3 Humankind games, I only get through 2 Civilization 6 games. To make Civilization 6 a 4-hour session, I have to turn off the animations for the game. I don't even touch religion because it doesn't have, I feel like after a while it just doesn't have an impact, so it doesn't matter, right? And I've played Civilization 6 so much I don't even have to think, right? I put down all my little markers that mark where, my districts are going, and that's it. And whatever civilization I play as, I just gear it to war because that's how you win. So yeah, that's it for this video. That's 10 things that Humankind does better than Civilization 6. I think Humankind is the superior game. I don't think Civilization 6 does anything better than Humankind does. I really do. Except you could argue that global warming, Civilization 6 does better. But Humankind, global warming comes with a base game. Civ 6, you have to pay for global warming. And honestly, it doesn't really have an effect until the late game, and by then you just spam out the things that make it so global warming doesn't matter. Guys, let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Do you like Civ 6 better, or do you like Humankind better? I'm the Casual Gamer, sucked as bad as you do video games, and I'll see y'all in the next one.